Hi everyone! In this video we'll be talking about our new beginning level curriculum guide. At the beginning of the school year I often look like this. I'm excited to meet my students and I have lots of creative ideas for class. And then I start thinking. I think, well, what the heck should my class actually look like? What grammar will really help my students in their daily lives? What can my students already do with English? Well, they want to study shopping, but what does that mean? What are my goals? And what skills should I really focus on? And I go from looking like this to looking like this, overwhelmed and stressed out. Well, a wise teacher recently said to me that our students and our community need us relaxed and creative so that we can do our best for our students. And that is where our new curriculum guide comes in. Okay, so let's take a look at the actual guide. If you came to kickoff, you got a paper copy of this new document. So first we see that when students are ready to move up to intermediate classes, they're going to show some of these skills. And remember that our students are not expected to reach these goals in one session, but rather they're developing all of these skills over the course of years. So when students are ready to move on to intermediate level, what can they do? Well, here you can see a list of things that indicate that a student is ready for intermediate level. These are also helpful because these are our goals as beginning teachers. This is what we want our students to be able to do. We want them to be able to demonstrate comprehension of basic commands. We want them to be able to ask simple questions, communicate simple personal information. We want them to be able to write simple sentences, etc. So this first section of the document, these are our goals, and when our students can do these well, they are ready for the next level. And here at the bottom of page 1, we see a list of language functions. Students will be able to use English to accomplish these tasks when they're ready for intermediate level. So we want our students to be able to ask permission, to agree and disagree, to express necessity, etc. What language do they need to be able to accomplish these tasks? Well, we can look right here. Here are the language forms that students will need to use to accomplish those functions. So if you're wondering what grammar you should use, what grammar you should focus on, this right here, the language forms, gives you some guidance. Later, further down on page 4, you'll see some more guidance for useful language forms. Now on page 2, let's look at these level-specific considerations. This shows me what my class should actually look like. What are my goals and purposes? Well, my goals and purposes are to help students carry out their daily life activities in a low-stress learning environment that's student-centered and strengths-based. How should I teach? What kind of activities should I do? What should I bring in? You can find that right here in instruction. Here's a note about translation. If you're wondering about how to integrate culture or what topics to address, you can find that right here. And then if you're wondering what skills you should focus on, you can find that information right here. For the most part, in the beginning level, we're focusing on oral language. And when we do written language, we're building on the oral language that we've already developed. Now let's look at page 3. Here we can see suggested topics and outcomes. So probably you start your class by asking students to vote on what topics they want to study. So let's say, for example, that they want to study shopping. Well, remember that we're always basing our lesson planning on what we want students to be able to do with language. And right here, if they've chosen shopping, here are our objectives. This is what we want students to be able to do with language, so this is where we need to start. And then now, where can you find lesson resources to help you meet these objectives? That's our next step. Okay, so we have identified our topic, shopping. We know what we want our students to be able to do with language. And so our best lesson planning resources, if you were at the tutor kickoff, you heard about our new curriculum. So I go to the tutor resources page, I click ELAA Curriculum beginning level, I type the password, which is I love ELAA. Ta-da! Here is a whole curriculum with lesson plans for all of these topics. So here's shopping. And now I have 8 full lessons about shopping that I can use. So that was a very brief introduction to our beginning level curriculum guide. And remember that your students in your community need you relaxed and creative. So when you find yourself looking like this, reach out to me, come back to the curriculum guide, look at the Minnesota resources so that you can get yourself back to looking like this.